Our movie begins with a group of explorers investigating new caves in Pennsylvania. They are thrilled because no one has entered these caves for millions of years. As they explore, they hear strange sounds coming from deep inside. One of them gets scared, but another reassures him, "Don't be afraid. As long as I'm with you, you have nothing to fear." Suddenly, terrifying creatures attack, tearing them apart and eating them. After finishing, the creatures pour out of the cave in huge numbers, as if they had been waiting for this moment all along. Then we move to a girl named Allie, returning home from school in New Jersey. We learn she lost her hearing 3 years ago in an accident. Because of this, she struggles to communicate, and her classmates bully her constantly, shouting insults she can't hear. Her only friend is Rob, who treats her kindly. He even learns sign language to talk to her. That day, he walks her home, and they discuss their dreams for the future. When she arrives, her dog greets her warmly. She loves him dearly and considers him her best friend. At night, the family gathers for dinner. They are close and love each other deeply. After dinner, Allie steps into the garden and finds her grandmother smoking. The grandmother is startled and whispers, "Don't tell anyone, Allie. It's just one cigarette. If your mom finds out I'm smoking at my age, it'll be a problem." Allie promises to keep the secret on one condition, that her grandmother smokes less. Allie then heads to bed. Later, her father Hugh comes in and says, "I heard you have a friend named Rob. I'm worried about you and want to know more about him." Allie tells him, "He's a good person. He treats me well, and he even learned sign language for me." Hugh replies, "The most important thing is that you don't hide anything from me. I'm here if you ever need to talk." Then he lets her sleep. In the middle of the night, Ollie's mother wakes her up and calls her to the living room. Panicked, Allie goes out and finds the whole family watching TV. The government has declared a state of emergency because strange creatures are brutally attacking humans. On screen, a news segment shows a mother taping her daughter's mouth shut with a warning that no one should make any sound. The anchor advises people to stay home and stay silent. The family watches in horror, trying to understand what is happening. Hugh calls his neighbor and coworker Glenn, asking him to come over to discuss what to do. Minutes later, Glenn arrives and suggests they stay inside and follow government instructions. Allie disagrees. If noise attracts these creatures, then big cities like ours will definitely draw them in. It's safer to move to a quiet village. Her father agrees, and they quickly pack their belongings. They leave in 2 cars. In the first car are Allie, her father Hugh, her mother, and her grandmother. In the second car are Glenn and Jude, Ollie's little brother. On the road, Allie checks in with Rob, who says his parents have decided to stay home and keep silent. Allie replies, "We're heading north to the first village we find a hide-in." They agree to check on each other later. A little while later, they stop at a rest area to buy supplies. Allie walks her dog, but suddenly a man with a gun appears, threatening to kill her and steal their car. Hugh steps in, "Calm down. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't hurt my daughter." Luckily, Glenn has a weapon. He pulls it out, shoots the man, and quickly takes his gun. They leave the area and continue driving until morning. Glenn notices Jude is frightened and wants to ride with his family. Glenn stops so Jude can join them. They continue their journey until they reach a very crowded area. Traffic is at a standstill. Glenn calls Hugh to follow and takes a different route through the forest. Hugh follows him. Everything seems fine until a herd of deer crosses Glenn's path. He swerves to avoid them, and his car overturns in a crash. Hugh stops and rushes to help. Glenn survives, but his leg is badly trapped. Hugh tries to rescue him, but can't. Kelly, Hugh's wife, calls emergency services, but no one answers. People everywhere are panicking because of the creatures. Glenn urges Hugh, "Leave me here. Take your family and go now." Hugh refuses. "I won't leave you like this." He realizes there's nothing he can do and says, "I'll go up to the road, get help, and come back for you." He asks his family to get in the car, but before they can move, Allie notices the dog barking hysterically, as if sensing danger. She feels something is wrong and asks her father to turn off the car immediately. Suddenly, a vicious creature attacked them. Because of the barking, more creatures swarmed the car, almost breaking the windows to get inside. At the last moment, Glenn decided to sacrifice himself to save them. He started shooting his gun to draw the creatures toward him with a loud noise. The plan worked. The creatures swarmed him, and he tried to kill as many as possible. But the dog kept barking loudly, which was a disaster. They tried to silence him, but failed. Hugh had no choice but to open the door and let him out to save the family, while Allie cried for her best friend. There was no other option. After a short while, things calmed down completely. Hugh decided to quietly step out of the car to check the situation outside. He got out slowly, without making a sound. While he was checking if Glenn was alive, the grandmother suddenly felt the urge to cough from smoking and started coughing uncontrollably. That sound drew the creatures toward the car. One of them climbed onto it, eyeless and terrifying, relying only on hearing. He quietly bent down, picked up a metal rod and threw it far away. The monster immediately went toward the sound, moving away from the car. Hugh returned to the vehicle, realizing it was no longer safe outside. He told his family, "These creatures are blind. They rely only on hearing. From now on, whoever has a phone must put it on silent and will only use sign language to communicate. We can't move with the car, it's too loud. We have to walk quietly on foot. But first, I need to do something." Hugh carefully went to Glenn's car and found the creatures had already eaten him. He decided to set Glenn's car on fire, causing a huge explosion to attract all the creatures to the noise. His plan worked. He blew it up, and the creatures swarmed toward the sound. He used the opportunity to take his family and move on foot. After walking a long distance, they stopped to rest for a while since they still had a long journey ahead. By coincidence, Jude, scouting with binoculars, spotted a nearby house. He went to tell his father what he saw. Hugh told them, "Let's go to that house, especially since it's getting dark. We have no other choice but to spend a night there." They reached the place and were surprised to see it surrounded by an iron fence. Hugh tried to open the gate quietly, but it made a noise, drawing the creatures closer. The homeowner heard them, thinking they were burglars. She had no idea what was happening or about the creatures that had taken over the planet. She pointed a gun at them, shouting loudly and threatening to kill them unless they left immediately. Because of her shouting, the vicious creatures attacked her and devoured her while the family watched in terror. After that, Hugh noticed a drainage pipe and realized it was the only way to get into the house without making noise. He told them, "I'll go first. If it's safe, I'll signal you to follow." He crawled through quietly, making no sound, and successfully reached the other side. Relieved to find the house safe, he came out and signaled his family to enter. Jude went in first, followed by the others. But halfway through, he encountered a snake. The snake hissed loudly, and the creatures heard the sound, rushing toward the pipe. Unfortunately, Kelly, his mother, was right at the pipe's entrance. A creature bit her leg. The pain was unbearable, and she screamed uncontrollably, attracting more creatures. They all attacked her. Hugh, desperate, had to think fast. He spotted a woodcutting saw and turned it on to attract the creatures. The loud machine lured them in, shredding them into pieces. This allowed the family to get inside the house safely. Everyone except Kelly, who had been bitten. The wound was very deep, and they had to act quickly. Allie brought alcohol to disinfect the wound, but it was useless. They needed strong antibiotics. They managed to stop the bleeding temporarily and went to rest until they could find a solution. Later, Allie called her friend Rob to check on him. He answered but looked terrified. We learned that his parents had died, and he was hiding alone, not knowing what to do. Allie was shocked and gave him her address, asking him not to make any sound and to come to her on foot. But suddenly the line cut off, and she couldn't reach him again. She understood that something had happened to him, and there was nothing she could do. The next day, Kelly's condition worsened because of the bite. The grandmother spoke with Hugh and told him, "Your wife must take antibiotics or else she will die within 2 days." Hugh replied, "Where can I get antibiotics when we're in the middle of the forest right now? But I'll do anything to save her. I'll take Allie and search for the nearest residential area. Hopefully, I'll find a pharmacy there and bring back antibiotics." They prepared themselves, said goodbye to the grandmother and little Jude, and left the house quietly, agreeing not to make any sound no matter what. After an hour of walking, they reached a residential area and luckily found a pharmacy. But the problem was that the front door was locked, so they went around to the back door. They managed to get inside and started searching for all the medicine they needed. While doing that, Allie suddenly noticed a corpse, and inside this corpse were eggs of the vicious creatures. Meanwhile, her father, on the other side, found the treatment they were looking for. While Allie was staring at the corpse, one of the eggs hatched, and the creature inside sprayed Allie with water. Out of fear, she made a sound involuntarily, which drew 3 creatures into the place. Allie and her father froze in fear. Allie looked up at the ceiling and noticed a fire alarm system. She signaled to her father to light something on fire so the smoke alarm would go off and drive the creatures away, allowing them to escape. Her father agreed, lit a mop, and held the smoke near the detector. As soon as the alarm went off, the creatures scattered, moving chaotically. Hugh took advantage of the moment, grabbed his daughter, and left quietly. They had succeeded in the mission and brought back the medicine they desperately needed. On their way back, they encountered a man, a priest, who invited them to join his group. But his appearance and behavior were strange. Hugh politely declined, saying, "Thanks for your offer, but we don't want to join any groups," then took his daughter and left. The priest didn't seem harmless. There was something suspicious about him. They eventually returned home safely. They gave Kelly the antibiotics and treated her wound. She would be fine in a few days. Later, Allie spoke with her father, saying, I read online that these creatures can't survive in extreme cold. I saw videos of people living in the Arctic. They were the only ones who managed to survive. At that moment, the priest was standing outside their house with his group. Hugh went out to see what he wanted. The priest again asked them to join his group. Hugh said, "I don't want to join your group. Leave us alone." The priest replied, "Fine, if you won't join us, then give us the girl. We need her." He was referring to Allie. Hugh was furious and scared for his daughter. He rushed inside to grab his weapon and threatened to kill them. But the problem was the place was full of creatures, and if he fired a single shot, they would all be dead. The priest was forced to take his group and leave quietly. That night, Allie received a message and was surprised that it was from her friend Rob, saying he was heading north. She was overjoyed, knowing he was still alive. She sent him a reply, but suddenly the internet cut off. Shortly after, they heard loud noises outside the house. Hugh and Kelly went to check the source, only to find a little girl standing at the door, terrified and scared. Feeling pity for her, they brought her inside to protect her. They tried to comfort her, saying, "Don't be afraid, sweetheart. Tell us what happened to you." Suddenly, they discovered many phones strapped around her waist, and all the phones were set to a specific time for the alarm to ring, like she was wearing a bomb. Within a minute, the alarms went off simultaneously, producing an incredibly loud sound. Because of this, the creatures attacked the house, trying to break in from every side. They quickly grabbed the phones and threw them into water to silence them. Meanwhile, 3 men suddenly attacked Allie and kidnapped her. They realized the little girl was part of the priest's group. The grandmother saw the men taking Allie, so she rushed toward them, trying to stop them. But they were too strong for her. She made a decision to sacrifice herself. She clung to the men and started screaming loudly to attract the creatures. The vicious monsters attacked, devouring both the grandmother and the men. Allie managed to escape but was recaptured again. They threatened her family, saying they'd kill her if they came closer. Hugh and Kelly had no choice but to back off, letting them take her in order to keep her safe. Suddenly, Hugh and Kelly ambushed the group on the road, catching them by surprise. Hugh strangled the priest, trying to kill him, while Kelly ignored her pain and fought desperately to protect her daughter. After a long struggle, Hugh managed to defeat the priest and his men, rescuing Allie. The next day, the whole family started moving north. Because the farther they went, the colder it got, the perfect environment to be safe from the creatures. In the north, they found a safe refuge where people lived. And not only that, Allie was reunited with her friend Rob, who was living in the refuge. Together, they went hunting to provide food for the community. The movie ends on this scene. See you in the next film.